Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the debate. We are continuing to build our greatest ever Everton team. We've got the back four, we've got right midfield, and we're going to skip over the centre midfield just for now. We're going to go to left midfield.
Okay.
Which, on paper, seems a done deal. But you know, let's look at the candidates.
Let's debate it.
Let's debate the
really,
candidate.
That's basically what the show's called.
That's basically what the show's called.
Yeah, and what it's about.
And what it's about. So
yeah.
let's
do it.
It's not always the easiest position to fill, left midfield.
No.
You know, it's a lot of people get shoehorned into that position. There's now a new tendency of putting right wingers on the left and having them tuck in, right-footed players on the left, tucking inside to allow the full-back to go outside, and it's a position that's changed a lot. Obviously, for us, the one that is there is Kevin Sheedy. That's the one that screams winner. But so, I mean, from your point of view, what was it about Kevin Sheedy that made him such a good player?
Well, I think to do this properly, we've got to do what a lot of things do, and go right back to the beginning, and right back to the bit where we're going to talk about, which is probably the earliest player we're going to mention is Johnny Morrissey, and we'll go through it that way because we'll give Sheedy his own section.
Well, that's exactly what I was doing.
But we don't give him the build it up. We want to build it up, I think. Johnny Morrissey, let's start with him.
He's just destroyed the game plan.
I know, but I'll take the game.
You've come in, I know. You've grabbed the ball, and you've just started doing your own
thing. And
everyone else is just like that, pass.
If you haven't watched our Pro Evolution on PES Online season about someone totally changing...
Well, you won't have because it's not out yet, and this is out today.
Oh, yeah, so look out for it. Sorry, yeah, look out for it, and you'll see what changing game plans is and doing their own thing in that, and I won't say which one of us does that. Anyway, Johnny Morrissey, let's start with him. Not the Johnny Morrissey who played in the 80s, who was his son, who played in that famous game against UCD when we nearly got knocked out. Johnny Morrissey, by all accounts, was a very, very good left-sided player for Everton. Hard as nails, I believe. Up and down. Loads of strength on the ball. Creator of goals. And he has to be in the conversation because of his place in the history. I think with that. Obviously, me and you, being young whippersnappers, we're far too young to know anything about that. I think my dad's at the dentist, so I can't ring him and ask him about how he's getting on, what he was like. But my dad just used to say he was tough, Morris. He'd mix it. He was good. He was skillful and strong. But if the fullback wanted a little bit of a ruckus, he'd quite happily have it with him. And sometimes he enjoyed that more than the actual, getting on the outside.
Footballers used to be very violent, didn't they?
Well, just looked after themselves, mate. Looked after themselves.
There's no protection then.
I wonder what they would have thought of Neymar, who plays on the left, obviously. So he's got to be, I think he's got to be considered, but as good as he was, and his son obviously played off the left as well, in the 80s, played a few games for the first team. But as good as what he was, let's move on to another player who was physically tough because he played with no shin pads.
Dave Thomas, yeah. I mean, Dave Thomas is a proper winger.
Yeah.
Like, if you go back and you watch the videos of him, you will see a player there. Like, no, he's not. He was like an old-fashioned winger not like now or even like what we maybe even think of a winger in the 80s or 90s. He was a winger who would just pick the ball up. He'd almost have like the ball at his feet and a ciggy in his mouth. With no shinnies on and socks rolled down, and he'd just skip around a couple of people and just create a cross out of nothing. And then Bob Latchford would be at the end of it. And he was the archetype winger of what you expect. And obviously, Bob Latchford in the year he went on and scored his 30 goals. Dave created a lot of those goals, but just by his wing play. But he made it look so easy though as well. I mean, he wasn't at the club for too long. I don't think was he was like 2 or 3 years. But Bob Latchford always credits him with a lot of the assists for a lot of helping him score a lot of those goals.
Yeah, because he would literally, and don't forget the pitches in them days as well. People would be diving in at him, he'd just knock it past them, and there's the great left foot cross, and you'd see players getting on the end of it. It was almost what you want someone like Balassi to do. Just knock it and cross it, lad. Don't complicate.
But his crossing was really good.
Fantastic.
Really, really
I wouldn't
good.
say Balassi's on that level, but what I mean is, if you're talking about actually simplifying your game, the closest I saw to it in, I suppose, the 90s, and he was nowhere near as good, but was Rick Holden. Remember Rick Holden at Oldham, who didn't have any real skill, but he had a really good left foot. So he'd literally just get half a yard and cross. I suppose Beckham, on a much better level, didn't go by players with skill, but he'd just get that half a yard, get enough to cross it, and his delivery was brilliant. But Thomas was like that. He'd literally take them on.
But he had the look of the winger, though. He had like,
he
had like his hands up on his sleeves,
like Hibbert's always freezing, like Tony Hibbert,
holding his sleeves, and he just had that look of someone who didn't look like he was doing anything.
Yeah,
and we're just. I mean, his crosses were brilliant.
Fantastic.
Sadly, he's gone blind, hasn't he? Now he's gone blind. I know that there've been a lot of money raised for him and get him a guide dog and stuff. But it's sad that, because for a couple of years he was a real part of Everton, and how we got goals, a real provider. And when that's what you're looking for, isn't it? When you talk about certain players in the team, I think.
I tell you who'd love him, Cenk Tosun.
Cenk
would love that.
Dunk would have loved him as well.
Dunk would have loved it.
Well, it's like now I think we expect footballers to do everything.
Multiple jobs.
And in them days he was
most men can't multitask.
No. But he was just, give me the ball on the wing. I'll beat a couple. I won't even run past them. I'll just do them, and then throw a cross in. And Bob would put his head on it.
Bob would just go, nice one, solid. Probably didn't use that exact phrase.
Unless that's a German phrase.
It could be a German phrase. Well, but he wouldn't have been German phrase then.
Pre-Anthony.
Yeah. Maybe he studied the head.
Getting the lingo down.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Lingo though. Jingo. Great, good player. Another player who we will mention from that, but wasn't at Everton for very long, but who sat on this couch many a time and never shut up. Obviously Ronnie Goodlish, who was another old-fashioned type. Well, we say old-fashioned, they were old. It was the old days, and that's what wingers were. Yeah. Now you look and go old-fashioned. At that time, they were just wingers.
Vogue.
They were in vogue, yeah. But Ronnie Goodlish, another one, the great left foot, would skip on the outside of players, put deliveries into the box. Left, by his own admission, a bit too soon. Scored a cracking goal from miles out at West Ham, which I'm sure Thibaut Courtois probably would have criticised the goalie for.
Of course.
Not like he's ever been done with that. But again, another good player that played on the left foot, wasn't there very long, and it's been, and still is to this day, a problematic position, I think, for Everton. But the next fellow I want to talk about filled it for longer than anyone, and it wasn't a problematic position. But it kind of was, then it wasn't, then it has been again for the last few years.
But talking about Sheedy, coming from Liverpool,
under the radar.
Yeah,
let's be honest, he was a Liverpool reserve. In them days, you'd had the reserve derbies and stuff, and you'd go and watch them, but there wasn't the 24/7 thirst for news like there is now.
So why did we buy him? Or what was the situation?
Howard knew him. Howard knew him. I think he played. I think he played a reserve game, Howard Kendall, against Liverpool. As far as I'm aware, at the time, someone had tipped him the wink and obviously said, "Good lad here," and he wasn't getting a sniff at Liverpool. Left foot, and I think Howard had watched a few reserve games, because the reserves used to play at Anfield, or obviously Liverpool reserves would have been playing at Anfield. So I think Howard went and watched them. A couple of people played against him, said he's good. And I think Howard played in a game against them and was like, he's a good lad, this fella. And obviously went to Liverpool, and I think Sheedy pushed it. Liverpool were happy to keep him. They had Ronnie Whelan at the time, who wasn't as good a player, but was more industrious,
more versatile as well, because of the subs. Yeah. You needed players like that.
It was one sub then, wasn't it? But yeah, it was one sub. So before it went to two, and so he suffered probably from that. The same with Alan Harper. Bertie was exactly the same. He was another one who was in Liverpool's reserves. Was a good player, but they weren't prepared to give him a chance, because in them days Not like now where you stockpile.
Yeah.
Liverpool would change one player a season and win the league, and then he'd just upgrade him one a season, and that was it. Players, you didn't get 4 or 5 signings in the summer. Everton did it with the Magnificent 7. That didn't really happen again because it didn't work then either when you bring that many in.
Yeah.
It's only really Nev that worked. Others were there for a year and went, and Mickey Thomas's case, he was there for 3 months and went, and things like that. So Sheedy came in because obviously Liverpool were like, well, yeah, okay. And what was it, 300 grand or something like that, or 250 grand, whatever. And I remember going to Aston Villa at home, second game of the season. Sheedy played, we beat them 5-0, and he was just incredible. And then we beat Spurs on Saturday 3-1 at home again, and he was just, left foot was brilliant. And you were like, oh, it looks good this, but obviously you didn't know that much about him, but he went on to be, that left foot was one of the best in Europe without a shadow of a doubt. And again, this is where the ban stopped him, I think, being revered around Europe more. Possibly helped Everton to keep hold of him, because obviously things happen, but for in terms of his career, listen, I don't think he would have wanted to leave Everton anyway. He loved it. He loved Everton. He was more than happy to be here, but you know, he should have been he should be held in much higher esteem, because it's quite simply the best free kick taker I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely
ever.
So what would you say was the main part of his game? I mean, I know watching him growing up, but you know, what was his game? To take away the left foot.
Yeah.
What was his game?
Nothing. I think what worked really well with him, particularly when we were very successful, was Van den Alp just took care of everything behind him. And so he did work back, but it wasn't the same as now, whereas the modern day it's under a mile an hour. So he was, but the thing about Kevin Sheedy was he was just able to pick a pass from anywhere, whether it be a through ball, a switch, or his crossing ability was incredible, and he'd score goals. And what Everton done really well was the same on the other side, right, with Trevor Steven, always. So he'd cross it, Steven would volley it in. Steven would cross it, he'd volley it in. We had the 2 full-backs doing this. You know, when you think of Everton in the 80s, and people will skate over this of a certain age, because it's gone, it's history. But there'll be fellas like my age and older, or a bit younger like yourself, who know it because they've seen it. Think of Everton then, pressing, although it was called working hard then. Yeah. You know, I remember. I always remember it, reading that match report, and this got bandied about the way Everton hunt in packs was the phrase. No one had seen it. No one had seen the way Everton, when Kendall got them doing it. Liverpool would pass and move, you know, Sammy Lee and all, they'd knock it off and go and wheeling and soon. Everton would press. That was what it was about. They had 2 strikers, they'd go and press, they'd split the centre back and the full back. That was what your job was. The midfield, go after the ball, and if you didn't get it, get back into position quickly. We were doing that in mid-80s under Kendall. I remember when I went to Everton, it was drilled. You centre forward, right? You're the right full back and the left back, and you had your job, right? You go pressing, you come back in, and it was like, yeah, okay. That was. But when Kendall brought it in, that was why I think Everton took a lot of teams by surprise at first, because they were like, what the fuck, where's the 3 you're on me? And we'd get the ball back. So Kevin Sheedy, because we had Van den Al looking after him, behind him, and he had Bracewell and Reed inside, he was just mustard in that midfield, and Trevor Steven. He was almost the luxury. He didn't work quite as hard as what Trevor Steven did, because Trevor Steven was up and down. He was a bit more, he was able to mix it a bit more, Trevor. But he'd just leave his foot in.
No, he was naughty at times.
And he'd get on, scored a few headers in his time. Just a fabulous footballer, Pet.
Well, you mentioned Beckham.
Yeah,
he's a bit like a Beckham. Like a Beckham, wasn't he? Because he didn't have pace. Let's be honest. He didn't beat people.
He wasn't slow, but he wasn't knocking it past you.
He also had the luxury of having centre forwards who were good in the air as well, who knew how to look after themselves. He had players like Lineker, who we could put over the top.
Yeah.
You know, he had someone on the other side in Trevor, who we knew would join in at the back post, so we could go far. And same on the other side, if the ball came over, you knew he'd always be
ready
at the back post or edge of the... I mean, the amount of goals he scored at the sort of corner of the box, where he just put it back
into the
you know, he scored loads like that.
So accurate with his left foot. And I mean, you know, most people will have seen the Ipswich Town free kick in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. If you're young and you haven't, or you're an American fan or something, and you haven't, go on YouTube, Everton and Ipswich FA Cup quarter-final 1985. Just watch the free kick situation, because to do that is just unbelievable. I'm sitting there in the Bullens just then, like, devastated that they disallowed the first one, and then when he put it back in the other corner, I remember, like, I think Barry Davis, wasn't it? It was, I don't mind, I'll just put it in the other corner. Like that, because it was just incredible to see it. And that happened all the time, you know, the sheedy, when we got a free kick. And it was almost, teams were terrified of giving free kicks.
And set corners as well. I mean, Mountfield scored a lot of goals.
Yeah.
He scored a lot of goals from his corners.
Just whipped in. And it was an ability to keep the ball as well, because he was strong. He was a big lad, you know, get his arse in. And I remember going to Arsenal once in, I think it was 91. We got beat 1-0. Alan Smith spawned a goal in off a shin or something. We lost 1-0. And I remember he gave the ball away in their half, and they broke. And he was just jogging back, looking at his feet. The game was going on. He wasn't breaking sweat. He was just running back like that. He didn't look up once the game was getting played. Everyone was like, look at Sheedy. Now you'd be like, you're fine, shit. Everyone was just laughing. Come look at him. I'm not even that. You know, that was it. But that was his style. He played everything. When he got it, seemed to slow down for him. And he'd keep it. And you just... Look at his goal in the Cup Winners' Cup final. You know, Dave Hans Krankel's just scored with this... 5 minutes left, it's twitchy bum time. For us now, you'd go white in that time and I'd be baldy. We just break, gets rolled to him, edge of the box, side foot, in off the bar, 3-1, game over, good night, you know, and a good night Vienna, literally. And it was like that all the time. You knew with him, goals, 15 goals a season, you know. Honestly, if he was around now, 100 million, 50 million, 75
Probably
million.
get bombed out for not working hard enough.
Someone would take him though, because the left foot was incredible. So he'd build the team round him because his left foot was incredible. Do you know what I mean? And that was the type of player. And when you get someone, you know, Liverpool, I think was it Paisley went on record, or Joe Fagan? I think one of them went on record and went, that didn't work out very well, did it? That we get, because he was that good. They tried to get him back twice, Liverpool, during that time, and he was more than happy where he was. So just an absolutely fantastic player for us. Assists, I don't think assists were, well, they weren't recorded the way they are now. If they were, you know what, I'm sure he had 20 a season. Honestly, I'm sure he will have had between 15 and 20 a season, and that in itself is incredible. I mean, he must have played 300-400 games for Everton.
But he played 274 times for Everton.
Is that all?
Yeah.
I would have thought it was a bit bigger.
And scored 67 goals.
That's not bad,
That's
is it?
not bad
for
at
a
all,
left,
is it?
for a left-sided midfield player.
82 to 92, then went to Newcastle for a year, where he played 37 times, scoring 4 goals. Then went to Blackpool and played 26 times. So...
Well, we had the best of them. We had a couple of bad injuries with us as well. He was out for a while on 2 or 3 occasions with us, which curtailed, obviously, his appearances and stuff. But 67 goals and, 270 games or something. That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad at all. Yeah, for a left-sided midfield player. Incredible. But he had everything. He had that, other than pace. He wasn't slow, but he wasn't a runner. But just a fantastic footballer. And again, you'd almost start feeling sad when you think of that. Why isn't that footage in fucking HD?
Yeah.
Because it is, like you always say, it's the lost years, and it's so upsetting as an Evertonian, because imagine just sitting there for watching 3, 4, 5 years when we were in our pomp in HD.
I'd love to have like you mentioned there, like YouTube. There are videos, but I'd love to have like all his free kicks.
Yeah.
And love to. I'd love to compare them to everyone else. You know
what, mate? There must be, because every team filmed the game.
I know, this what annoys me. Everton should like have...
trying to collate them.
Should have someone collating everything they've got.
Yeah.
Or trying to find everything.
Yeah. Contact every
Getting
team.
in every team and going, have you got this video, have you got this, yeah.
That game. You should do, because
most teams would.
Yeah,
you know,
everyone had them. It's what you do with them, that's all, but I'm quite sure they're in someone's vault somewhere.
Well, I've got the 87 season on VHS,
yeah.
And most of it's filmed from the main stand. They're
like just the top
scouting,
bit,
the scouting thing for the club itself, because a lot of the goals went missing because of the TV strikes and all this stuff, and the complications with the TV deals.
Well, that
only
year,
happened to us again.
Of course.
Only us.
That year in '86, the bib.
Yeah.
When we had Lineker, he was unbelievable in that year, and he actually should have put us 2-0 up in the cup final. But his right foot, it shaves the far post just after half time. That's when, you know, Grobbelaar was arguing, fighting, and if that goes in, we go 2-0 up, we'd be pissing. Be pissing. But in typical Everton fashion, it shaved the post. And then Gary Stevens thought he could curl a ball round Jan Molby, who was as wide as the fucking Mersey. He took it off him, and Big Nose got in, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's it.
But as you know, in terms of spending money, we often talk about Seamus Coleman as value for money, and rightly so, because he was marvellous. But Kevin Sheedy, incredible value for money for what we paid for him and what he gave us back, because he was just unbelievable.
That's what I love a lot about the 80s team, is that the players don't come from anywhere. They're not.
No.
You know, you reel a team off and you don't go, well, we bought him from him and him and him and him and him and him.
Well, Southall was what, Berry, wasn't he? Gary Stevens was the academy, you know, the youth team then, wasn't it? Rats was come through the ranks. Yeah. Degsy Mount was Tranmere. Van den Ham was Birmingham, but they weren't at Birmingham, weren't anything. Trevor Stephen was Burnley. Reedy Bolton. Brace was Sunderland. Inchie was Stoke. Sheeds was Liverpool, but a Liverpool reserve. Yeah. Sharp was Dumbarton, but through the ranks. Dumbarton as a kid. Andy Gray, Wolves. Yeah. You know, and
but Reed and Gray were Crocs was finished.
People would have gone, not buying them. Why are we getting him? Once your typical Everton. In them days, Reedy was a bit younger, but had some bad injuries. Gray obviously was a journeyman. You know, when then you look at Bertie, Alan Harper, Liverpool reserves. You know, Paul Wilkinson, Grimsby. You know, you look through that team. Jim Arnold, I think, had come from Blackburn Rovers, and then we, you know, obviously Bobby Mims forced them out, and he'd come from. Where did Bobby Mims come? Rotherham. So it was no, like, you know, top. You know, when we got Lineker from Leicester, Leicester were Leicester. He was like a Division 1 side, whatever. That was like, ooh, gone and got in from there. You know, it was and then we got Snods from Doncaster or whatever, or Leeds. Leeds. I mean, you know, and it was like it was
mad, isn't it?
It was mad. Dan talking to Sheedy, do you remember the free kick at Leeds in the FA Cup?
Yeah.
And he hits it and it hits the bar, and it comes back to him and he volleys it in, and you're like, just played a 1-2 off the crossbar with yourself, you know. And I think Sharpie scored a pen in it as well. It's just loads of memories of him, and just fantastic football, and scored in big games, Luton in the FA Cup. Yeah. You know, we free
the one in the semi where
that's what I mean.
Rolls
with
around
2
the wall.
minutes. That's
the other thing about him. Those variation in his free kicks was incredible. Yeah. Really was incredible. You know, whether he went for the left, the right, low, high, put it into the box.
Just you know, amazing, mate. An amazing footballer, and just such, again, you know, without me starting to tear up, it was a privilege to watch him. But again, like I've just said, big goals at big times.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Obviously, he left in '92.
Yeah.
90s, not really. I mean, Peter Beagrie sort of took his place, didn't he?
He did. Beag's come in, and it was him, and he'd play on the right or the left. Beagrie was a good player. He had a load of talent, but again, a little bit like Yannick Bolasie, a bit better than Bolasie in terms of his delivery. He's better than Bolasie's. Bolasie's more explosive, but Beagrie would overcomplicate. He'd do that cross.
Remember his first goal though, when he got to the guy's seat, got touched off and he smashed it in and did all the backflips. It was just like,
well, he claimed the one at Villa when we got
6-2,
which was a big deflection.
Yeah,
come on, didn't he, and scored. But yeah, I liked them. I was made up when we got him. A lot of teams. Liverpool, he turned Liverpool down for Everton, which it always goes under the radar. Liverpool wanted them as well, and we got in, he wanted to come here, and, you know, Snowden, everyone talks about that. But Beagley did the same. You know, Liverpool wanted Beagley, but if he'd have simplified his game, he'd have been much better, because when he actually did put the ball in the box, his deliveries were great, and he was good in the air. He's not a big lad. He was good in the air, obviously. He's not covered himself in glory.
Not recently, no.
But, you know, and even in his Everton time, he drove a motorbike through a reception window when they were in Mallorca or somewhere. Rode the moped through the glass into the reception and asked for a bevy. As he do, and hurt himself and was out for a bit. But decent player, but overcomplicated. Give Sharp a couple of hernias and stuff from having to check back every time.
Yeah.
And the most bizarre loan signing ever in '98, when we got him back, about 5 years after he'd gone.
From Bradford.
Howard got him and sold him, and then got him back on loan. And to be fair, the one game he played and we beat Leeds at home. Remember Hutch scored, we beat them 2-0. He actually played really well in that Beagley. He had a good game, so maybe Howard knew what he was doing after all. Andy Hinchcliffe went out there and tried. He was a left back playing there. And then obviously we got, you know, 94 Anders coming, did he? Predominantly. Well, he was another one. He'd play off both flanks, wouldn't he? He was fantastic for Arsenal. I think we talked about him. Did we talk about him on the right-hand side?
I think we did, because in the first year he was on the right-hand side, and when Andre came in, he moved to the left-hand side. And obviously in the Merseyside derby, when we beat them 2-1, Cancelo scored both goals. You know, one of the goals starts almost at our left-back position.
Goal, isn't it?
Yeah, and he comes... Anders picks up the ball on the left, cuts across field, lays it into Cancelo, then he cuts inside and outside, and then bang.
He didn't quite cut across field. He danced past 5 Liverpool players, and then played an inch perfect pass.
That's what I meant.
Big it up. We hardly ever win at Anfield. Big it up. But no, he was a man for pure talent and ability, and an Evertonian as well as a kid, which was a big thing. You know, which was. You know, you've got to give him.
He was a good player, Anders. Once he got his head right, and I think we mentioned when we spoke on the right hand. Once he got his head right and knew that the team could go somewhere, then he switched on and started giving, you know, a lot more. And once the freedom was there, and he knew he had other players around him, he had Cancelo around him. He's just become a really integral part of that side for a year or so, and. You know,
he fell out of favour with Joe, didn't he? When we started losing a few games, Joe dropped him, and the crowd used to sing for him and won him on, didn't he? And I remember he apparently Joe had caught, or someone had heard him saying to one of his Swedish teammates, I can't remember who it was, I hope you beat these today, because he wasn't getting on. He wanted to get back in the team, and that was kind of the end of him. You know, I remember Joe doing an interview. I think we lost the home game under Joe around that time, and he was like, the crowd were calling for Anders, and it was, you know, wasn't the right time to bring him on. We were like 2-0 down or something at home, and you're like, it was the exact right time to bring him on. But they'd obviously had the falling out, and he was ushered out the door, wasn't he? He went up. Where did he go?
He got Birmingham.
Must have been Birmingham. He got him out the door, didn't he? They got Barry Horn out the door, and then tried to get him back, didn't he?
Last day of the season.
Yeah, at the deadline
day, yeah.
And then Joe ended up resigning about an hour later. Tore Andre Flo, Klaus Eckerberg, and Barry Horn. Ended up with none of them, and we lost our manager all in 2 hours. But Limpar for a little bit, but he couldn't really.
Talent though, I mean pure talent though.
I honestly thought then you said Tal, and I thought you were going from Anders Limpar to Aiden Tal.
No one's ever gone there.
Don't go full Tal.
Never go full Tal. No, but for
pure talent and ability, he should be in the conversation for about 12 seconds because of what we got on. But we did win a trophy with him. Yeah. Well, we won 2 because we won the Charity Shield as well with him. So on that basis, he should be in the conversation because not many players who were putting up for this did win trophies with him.
And then moving on to
Aiden Tal. Gary Naismith? No. Okay.
No.
Who else went that? Who come after then? Moisey had Tal, didn't he? Walter brought Tal in, didn't he? They remember we won up in Newcastle on the debut.
All we are saying is give Tal a chance.
Remember the goal he scored against Borough at home in Duty? He flicked it up with his left foot and volleyed it at the park.
He had talent actually. He just
pace again.
Yeah.
He was alright, Aiden Tal. Went off to Bolton, didn't he? He'd on Tal, as they called him.
He was, I mean,
under Moise.
Walter wouldn't really have. Walter would probably have a centre back at left midfield.
Well, he got Pems, didn't he?
Pembridge.
Mark Pembridge. We've had some. We've been. Someone's had us off here. And when we sit down and remember these players, because you just gloss over them, we've been had off here.
Big time.
Pems was all. I remember me mate telling me, Derby fan, going, "You've got a dead ball specialist there," and I was really? All right, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. So Pems, and then we went on to. Who else did he have? He must have had someone else there before we get to.
David Unsworth played left midfield.
And Unsworth.
But you know what though? One of David Unsworth's best performances I ever seen for Everton was playing at left midfield.
Against?
I can't remember.
He scored at Derby County.
But I tell you what,
Fulham at home.
When he was a little bit more athletic looking. Rhino really was really what he'd get the ball and he'd get his head down and just run at people, and once you got that momentum going, no one could.
Problem though was he just leather it across. He wasn't cultured, was he? So he just drive it across at pace. But then again, just put your head in, it flies in, doesn't it? The Rhine. Yeah. But then obviously we're going to talk about the man.
Well, Stevie P came in from Dortmund on loan. He'd been at Ajax. A lot of teams wanted. I remember him. He was one of those players that you were like. Now it's like you know everyone. You know every deal that's going on. You know he's linked with him, and you know every deal. And even when it's just like someone you've heard of, and they go, you know about it now. But then it wasn't so. I just remember this lad at Ajax who was ripping it up. He was brilliant, and Dutch football was a lot more respected then. Wasn't And I remember like everyone in Europe wanted him, and he chose Dortmund. And he wasn't even one of those where you were thinking, "Oh, we've got a chance." It wasn't. You didn't even think about players like that. You just like, "Oh yeah, he's going to Dortmund." That's a weird choice, because I remember Arsenal wanted him, and all kinds of teams wanted him. And then, lo and behold, 12 months later or whatever it was, Everton won him on loan. It's like, hang on, is that same fella that everybody wanted? He didn't settle in Germany for whatever reason. He went in and the coach probably didn't know how to use him, or the team wasn't built round him. And he came into us, and I remember the first couple of games, and looked at him, and he's a bit small, and is he really going to fit into what we do here? And I remember going to Sheffield Wednesday in the League Cup. I think we beat them 3-0. It was in 2007, November 2007, something like that. League Cup game. Watching him, and I remember my brother-in-law famously saying, and I've never let him live it down, "Nah, he's not going to make it him. Not going to make it at Everton him." And I was like, "Come on, give him a chance." And then, as more games he played, he got a little bit more into it, and you start to see the nice little touches and just cleverness on the ball. And then once Bainesy got into the team, obviously, just make as much noise as you want, Joe. I mean, we're only recording videos. Fucking dickhead. Once Bainesy came in, and you started to, the relationship started to grow, then obviously you never looked back.
No. I remember when I remember playing Pro Evolution Soccer with Ajax and Dortmund, and he was on with the pigtails and all that. But when we got him, I remember we brought him in. I was on holiday in America, so we got back and we signed a Cuba as well. So we went to Bolton on the Saturday. It was the first game. We back and we won 2-1. Yakubu scored, Johnson and Yak put it in after about 10 minutes. Pina played, and he was absolutely brilliant. And I know then he dropped off again, but I remember saying, gone with Andy, my best mate, and I was like, look how clever. And he was like, he wasn't saying he was crap, he was going, he's a little bit small though. And I was like, no, watch how clever he is with his passing. And he was just so switched on. Physically, he had to get into it. But when we give him the ball, he'd do that where he'd stop the ball and flick it. And I was like, he's clever as fuck. I said, if he can get fit, if he can get up to it, he'll be boss.
And also,
he dropped off a bit, but then he came back.
It was a case as well of having players around him who knew how to do it. Yeah, and obviously Arteta, Kale, and obviously Bainesy coming in as well really helped him. And he loved it as well, the work rate, he said. He said, I loved how hard Moyes pushed us. He said, because that's what I needed. I said, that's what we had at Ajax. He said, I loved being pushed. And then he was
He said about where he come up, where he brought up in South Africa and all that. They were trained before he went to Ajax. It was like you fight for everything. Yeah. Nothing comes cheap. Nothing's free. You battle for everything. And he said Moyes said them same thing, them values. You don't walk around this pitch. You run around this pitch. And he loved Moyes. He still loves him.
And you know, we start seeing more and more, and obviously the relation. The only thing you could say that he was missing in his time at Everton was goals. He should have scored more goals. Yeah.
But he set so many overs.
No, I know, but he should have scored more. If he'd scored more goals, he'd be, you know, revered. more, you know, remembered more.
Remember that goal at Arsenal? Goals like that at Arsenal, it's just incredible.
Again, that's another goal that's not remembered the way it should be, because if James Vaughan had made it 2-0 with 10 minutes to go on the snowy
3-1.
Was that 3-1?
It was 2-1 up, weren't we? Vaughan should have made it 3-1.
Yeah.
And they scored with a deflection in 94th.
Yeah.
It was Ricky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that, yeah, you're right. That would have been remembered more again. But it's one of those. It just gets, like Pickford saved the other night. It just gets, oh yeah. But no, Pienaar, he was great. And obviously, you know, it's well documented now. But he left, and people don't. A lot of people or some people haven't really forgiven for that, but he was treated poorly, which is why he left. People can go, yeah, he didn't, he wanted Champions League. He wanted to stay at Everton, he just wanted to be paid properly. You know, when we were spending money on someone who didn't really want to be there, then he knew that. You know what I mean? And he was offered considerably less, and he did want to be there, and he was the heartbeat of our team. And we lost a year of our development because we let him go. And then we ended up losing. Arteta went anyway a few months later, but we lost. I would say, particularly after Arteta's injury, he was never the same player. He was still a very good footballer, but he was never the same. And at that time, losing, if you'd had to lose one, Arteta was the one you would have lost, because Pienaar was him and Baines were part of what we were.
The other thing with Pienaar as well, I would love to have seen him play more centrally,
yeah.
But I don't know whether that would have took away from what we had on the left hand side.
But he played there for South Africa in the World Cup, didn't he? And he
didn't quite work, but he didn't have the plays around him. No. But I just remember when he played centre midfield and he had Fellaini next to him. We played Man City and we beat them 2-0. I think he scored a free kick in it.
Yeah.
And he was incredible that night.
Fellies.
I think they both scored, didn't he? Well, that was when
Cahill hit the bar at Edinburgh.
Fellaini, that was the night Fellaini did the pirouette.
Yeah.
Around there.
Done it in a World Cup match the other night.
Did it against, was it Bellamy? Did it against Bellamy, just stood there, and we were phenomenal that night.
But Fellaini was phenomenal. Yeah. And he played the older midfield role, and he was incredible. He just kept taking it was like a man against playing with the kids, just kept going in, taking the ball off them, and Pienaar was doing everything forward. He dictated the play. Isn't
it weird that like people like Fellaini and those people you're talking about there, Arteta, Pienaar, their best football was at Everton.
Without a shadow.
Fellaini's never been as good as he was for those couple of seasons at Everton.
Those people, it's again, I blame agents for this. I do. I blame agents for getting in the ear, because, and I understand why they move. I do, because if your team isn't winning, it's almost like you need. When we talk about these players, right, and I look back and I always think, how didn't we win a League Cup or something with these players? Because at that time, no one even really wanted the League Cup, and you don't know if we would have gone and won a League Cup. Then, who knows what that would have done?
It's annoying that
frustrating.
We did at the time. We didn't have the chance to build on these players.
Didn't have the money,
you know, to keep these players. It's mad now. Just for Fellaini for a second, it's like it's mad that, you know, Roberto Martinez in the World Cup used him as this plan B and has got results out of it, and you're thinking, why didn't you just keep him at Everton then? But saying financially, probably needed the money to bring in. Yeah. So it's but as I say, Pienaar for me, love the bones of him. Absolutely love the bones of him. No, again, I fully understand there's reasons why he left the club. You know, I'm the same. It really annoys me when people just like, oh, you left the club or this or that, and you're just like, these are human beings that want to be treated the same as other human beings, and there are reasons why they leave, and there might be reasons out of their control. And as footballers, they're used as, you know, like Rooney when he went to Man United, they have to bear the brunt. You know, and sometimes these things are agreed beforehand. You know, you'll leave and we'll be the bad guy. And
well, Lineker's just tweeted today, hasn't he? about that thing, because obviously that television, regardless of whether there was a deal in place, that was disgusting, and it was Laurie McManamy was great. But Lineker, and he has said it before, even though it annoys me, but he did say it. Kendall wanted to sell him because Kendall was going to Barcelona, so he was happy to sell him, and we were offered 2.2 million for him, which was a lot. Everton were happy to take it, so they just said, listen, we've accepted the bid for you from Barcelona, so you can go. Now I don't know whether if Everton would have gone, we don't want you to go, but he's come out and said I was quite happy to stay. Because we were going to win the league the year later.
There's always two sides of the story. Of course. We had Andre Chelsea sitting here, who for years we thought, both of us, that he wanted to go, and he played poor in the FA Cup, and it all tailed off. And he sat there and went, I didn't want to go. I was told I was leaving, and in that particular game, I told the manager I was injured, and
that's what happened. But that's you only see the green on the shaft.
Well, all you hear.
Well, hang on, sir. Well, the pitch.
But all you hear is what the club tell you to hear, and as I say,
and the players are like, listen, we will give you a bonus and we will give you this and that. Let us run the story, right? So the player does have to go. All right, suck it up and see then. I'll just say. But Pienaar, Stephen Pienaar was like, well, you're not going to pay me what I'm worth. The agent will be, and then hang on, the Spurs who are in the Champions League want you. And we'll give you that money.
When he went there, he found exactly probably what he found when he went to Dortmund. It was a team that didn't know how to use him, weren't willing to give him time to settle, didn't have a partnership. Like, I mean, what they, if Spurs were serious, they should have tried to buy both of them. If you were going to do it, you should have sat.
They tried to buy Neville, oddly, him and Phil Neville, didn't he? And then Neville again the year later, which was a bit mad. But it's all water.
But he come back, scored on his debut.
Come back. Was very good again when he come back until he got an injury and that kind of.
It's a shame really, and I asked him this when I spoke to him. It's a shame that Martinez probably would have.
I think he'd have loved him.
But he did. But he had him, didn't he? And I think we got a bit of a season out of that. But that would have been a manager where it would have suited him. But
it was just the injury, though, wasn't it? He was out for a while.
He just never come back from it, did he?
He didn't recover properly from it. And then it kind of moved. Then it kind of passed it, but he was brilliant for us.
Yeah,
and he's really, we haven't replaced him
for us. I mean, I would probably say certainly for me, he's the runner-up in this. Stephen Pienaar. That's just for me in my generation.
Oh, I think he is. I didn't see a lot of. I didn't really see a lot of Dave Thomas. I've seen obviously all the footage, so I know of him. I didn't see any of Johnny Morrissey, but I know of his legend, if you like. There's probably others who people will go, what about him? But certainly from the 80s onwards, there's only really been two players who could have even really genuinely been in the conversation for me. I know Anders won a trophy, but he wasn't here long enough, and things like that. But there's only two.
Yeah, but obviously Kevin Sheedy is the winner.
He's got to be in it because we were so successful, and like I said before, he scored big goals. He done things at important times. He scored FA Cup semi-final winners. He scored winner in the Cup Winners' Cup final. He was instrumental when we won the league again in '87, and there's all of that stuff. That is just, he played for 10 years at the club. He's seen it struggle, then he's seen the great times, and then he's seen it tail off again. Come back to the club as a coach and everything else. So for me, it can only really be Kevin Sheedy. Yeah. That's mine.
Well, as you say, we scored 67
goals in 220.
Pienaar played nearly 200 games and scored. Sorry, I'm just trying to do maths.
Maths, not a strong suit.
20 goals.
So Sheedy, 70 odd more games and 40 odd, nearly 50 more goals. So that's why.
Yeah.
But
obviously more than that. But
players.
I think that just shows.
I mean, someone's asked us to do a Premier League ever best.
Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be good. That'd be a lot more obviously varied than this.
Might just give the left side a player away in that, but we'll see. Who knows?
So there we have it. Kevin Sheedy goes into our team. There he is. Looking well on the left hand side. Let us know your thoughts on this. Is there someone else you want to throw into the hat? And let us know your memories of Kevin Sheedy and of Stephen Pienaar. Is he your second as well, or is someone else coming into it? Let us know your thoughts. Make sure you watch next week when we'll be tackling the centre midfield positions.
I like that. See what you did there.
Professional.
Very good.
professional. See you later.